in the re-op, we're talking about the Democratic primary, or what is we're talking about.
We're talking about the funeral of Bernie Sanders, the candidate.
We talked about this earlier in the show. He seems to be out of there, so now it seems as though we have our candidate, Hillary Clinton, and looks like she'll be going up against Donald Trump. And I think, here's my thing on this whole thing, right? I think Hillary, she has about 2 months between now and July to figure out a way to excite the Democratic base.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. She will have seniors, right?
100%. She's not worried about that, though. That's not what's going to win or lose her the election.
Right? She's going to have to convince minorities in record number to go out for her.
Yep.
Right? So she's going to have to convince Latino. Well,
the Obama coalition.
Yeah, she's going to have to convince the Obama coalition. And these are voters that, these aren't, the Obama coalition is not what I would consider necessarily to be super voters. There are people who vote because they feel like they want, they vote because they want to, not because they need to.
Yeah.
And I think people make the mistake, and you hear it all the time. I mean, when I make comments with this, people get on Facebook and they go ham on me. One person said on Facebook, like, oh, she'll go back and get millennials later. And that's not insane. That's not something that you can't really do that. You have to engage them at the beginning.
Well, you got to remember that young people are some of the best BS detectors of any group of people.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely.
We've grown up with the marketing machine shouting in our ear 24/7, buy this, buy this, buy this. We know what's real and what's not.
Exactly. And I think, and the fact that the fact that 33% of Bernie Sanders voters say they will not vote for her at all. And I think couple that with the fact of when you take that out and you disaggregate for age, that number goes to about 55%. So of millennials, that number's through the roof. And I think she hasn't, in my opinion, she hasn't given a sufficient enough answer. And I think when I say that argument, all you hear, and I'm pretty sure on this video, the Hillary people will just start attacking me and saying that I'm wrong and saying that I'm an idiot. And I mean, the Hillary people, I like them. Most of them are my friends.
Yeah.
The Hillary people, they're my friends. But
well, you just got to look at the numbers. Right?
I just look at
if she's doing as good as she can. Why are the numbers the way they are?
On sheer numbers, the only demographic. Here's the thing: the only demographic that Hillary continues to lose are millennials, 18 to 35. The only demographic that stuck with the Democratic Party in 2010, when we got shellacked, was millennials, 18 to 35-year-olds. And that's because the president went out there and they really tried to reach out to them. They lost every other demographic. They lost women. They lost white men. But they won millennials. And so I'm just raising the red flag here, right? I mean, I think what Donald Trump will do for us is he'll help us down ballot. Yes, Donald Trump as the presidential candidate could help us win the Senate for sure.
Do you think we could win the Senate back?
Yeah, I think Democrats can win the Senate back.
I mean, that is a bold prediction.
I think it's the right prediction. I think we can win the Senate back, right? I think if you look at the seats that are up, we can win the Senate back, right? I think we'll win in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Where our boy Alan Grayson is fighting it out.
He's a great candidate.
He's great.
He really is.
But once again, the establishment has put their finger on the scale.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, Alan is still leading, but once the cash infusion, as we like to call it, takes place, that's where
once the big money drops and super PACs step in, they'll put the scale, and then we'll get another wishy-washy Democrat
who's willing to do whatever they tell him to do.
Exactly. So that will be that race. And then we have a chance to pick up a seat in Illinois. Tammy Duckworth, which we like. We like Tammy, right? And then that's 2 seats. We need 5. I'm trying to remember where the other seats are. I used to know this off the back. Oh, then we could get rid of Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire.
Right.
With Hassan. Hasta luego. And then there's a possibility that we could even get rid of John McCain with Kirkpatrick.
That is going to be an interesting
Arizona.
Race. I mean, that is when you talk about, that's like a mini election, like a mini presidential election. I mean, the implications of John McCain losing, I mean, that's like, on your baseball team, you lose your first baseman, know? And
I think that's
his establishment.
And I don't think Donald Trump is going to help him. I think Republicans are either going to vote Donald Trump and not vote for anything else.
Donald Trump and McCain have beef as it is.
And this is what makes Donald Trump so revolutionary, right? As a candidate, not saying I'm going to vote for him, but what makes him so unpredictable is that he could go into a race like Arizona and endorse Kilpatrick.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he could do crazy things because he doesn't abide by any of the rules.
I mean, the fact that like you would basically start like a feud with John McCain, who is, as a Republican, pretty widely respected.
Yeah.
And, a core member of the party. And he says John McCain was like a fake prisoner of war, basically.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If Donald Trump goes to campaign for himself in Arizona, he automatically takes away votes from John McCain.
Yep.
And I mean, I think you add this to all the calamity and crazy. This week we find out that Ted Cruz has picked a vice president when he can't even be the nominee.
Literally, the numbers tell us that it is impossible for Ted. He needs over 100% of all of the remaining delegates to hit that number.
And their strategy is, we just need to block Donald Trump from getting the nomination.
Even if they combined their forces at this point,
they cannot.
Not possible. Why are they even in the race?
They just really need to drop out and give it to Donald. Like, I mean, the Never Trump people. There's so much crazy happening because I feel as though there's a Never Trump that's very established, and I think there's a silent movement in the Democratic Party to be the Never Hillary people. I'm surprised they haven't started a super PAC. Right. They don't believe in super PACs.
Yeah.
Right? But there's a lot of these Never Hillary people like, I will never vote for her. She's the worst thing that ever happened to us. Yeah. Her husband sucked. We don't want her. And so I just feel as though America,
it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting times. And I feel as though that millennials will be the decide. And people are like, oh, millennials don't matter. Millennials will be the deciders in this election. If they sit at home because they haven't been engaged, we will lose states like North Carolina. Straight up. Obama won North Carolina only because of millennials. He won Indiana only because of millennials. Hillary Clinton will not play in North Carolina without young people. Right? Same goes for Virginia. And so we're going to have to figure this out.